for the news?
Let's do those news.
All right, the news. The biggest news of the week. You ready? Dawn 4.0. Here we go. Let's dive right in. It's supposedly, the way Dan has put it, Dawn 4.0 is about the closest thing, of course, that we're going to see to EOS IO 1.0, which is mainnet software launch in June. He released this on Friday. Dan did. Came out late on Friday on EST. What were some of your primary takeaways there, Bluejays, if we look at the Dawn 4.0 release?
Well, first off, it was just the amount of code that went into this. I think Dan's post mentioned that 43 authors pushed 818 commits to GitHub, and that put this software as the top 8 most active C++ projects on GitHub in the past month. So they've pushed a lot of code in, and particularly I was interested in the market based RAM allocation model, and a lot of interest has come from that, because again, it's another market that people can sort of speculate on, which he does mention in the Medium post about how he's going to minimize speculation, because with that RAM being out there, and of course RAM is a precious resource, and programmers are going to need RAM, and DApp developers are going to need RAM. You're going to have quotas of RAM that you're going to be able to use, and therefore you're going to be rationing them out at, for example, we have it here, almost 1800 thousandths of dollars per byte, assuming a $20 token. So RAM is, of course, a precious resource. You don't want to keep RAM in the forefront of memory, because it uses that's going to be a precious resource that dApps are not going to have too much of. So therefore, there's going to be a market created for basically people wanting to trade RAM price for profit. So there was that part there, and I think that's one of the most interesting parts of the announcement for me. What about you, Kev? What did you think?
You dove right into the most interesting part would be the RAM allocation, I think, and there were a couple parts too that really impressed me. When it comes to smart contract developers using RAM, it's a precious resource because it's consumed by the database records you store. So basically, folks who are developing smart contracts, you want to make sure you're not storing all of your information right in the memory database, because it is such a precious resource. And they've now implemented a 1% fee to minimize speculation on the RAM market. So what people would want to do is they'd want to buy low and sell high, right, on RAM. And so they'd be trying to do that a lot. We don't necessarily want that, because then they might be taking away RAM from the developers who need that. And so so Dan and company have implemented a 1% fee on the trading, buying, and selling both. So when you buy some RAM, you spend 1% fee, and then when you also sell it later on, you spend another 1% for 2% total. And that actually it gets burned, so that it sort of pays for block producers if there is enough volume of RAM trade in a year, which is something he mentioned in the post. And so therefore, EOS could even become deflationary if RAM trading is rampant. Stupid, bad joke.
Yeah.
And then
I just got that.
It just came to me, so I'm not going to pretend like I thought of it ahead of time. But anyway, so that RAM trading rampant, and then say people decide to burn the inflation from the worker proposal as well, you could have EOS being a deflationary token. I'm not saying that will happen, but it certainly could become possible with this new model. Very interesting. It certainly sparked a lot of debate and conversation in the block producers chat. As you said, Bluejays, RAM is very expensive on EOS IO. It's not something, you can go out and buy a $20 gigabyte stick. But with EOS IO, you're spending like $20,000 or something, way more than that even, to get the same amount of RAM. I think it's more like 20 million or something ridiculous. So it's, of course, something that we need Moore's Law to help us catch up a little bit. And also when the price of the token goes up, and then the block producer competition gets more competitive and they're able to buy more RAM, maybe that price will drop significantly. Let's hope, right?
Yeah.
So, we'll see. That was certainly interesting. And of course, we should go to, what else did you find that really caught your eye? I was thinking that the name squatting was
interesting. I guess it's going to be like a mad rush to get names, I'm guessing. And yeah, it is what it is. So, I mean, it's going to be, at least EOS is going to have those friendly names. We're not going to have these 0x blah, 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 and 32 characters. No, we're going to have a 12-character name, which is a human readable name. So,
yeah, and Dan sort of talked about how their vision for blockchains is to separate the concept of accounts from identity, and to establish. So it's more like the name would be a vanity license plate, is the way he put it, so that's easy to remember. But actually, your real account may still be a long string of something, of integers and digits and so on, and that way it's more secure, right? Also, I found the part about vote decay very interesting as well. So you need to re-vote for your vote to have maximum impact. When you're voting for block producers, you need to vote every single week. You need to refresh your vote every single week. And he also put it in the note saying that he is asking, or he hopes that folks will not just develop some kind of bot that will vote for you, because that defeats the whole purpose. And the reason for the voting every single week is to help keep people interested in the system and researching their block producers, and always understanding what the best possible way to keep the chain healthy is, right? So block producers could add a whole bunch of new RAM on their stack, and you may not know about it unless you are voting every single week, and then you keep up with the latest news, and you go, oh wow, those guys, they really have upgraded their stuff. I need to vote for them now because I want a stronger chain and I want cheaper RAM. So that was kind of in place of a term limit that has also been floated around as an idea, where a block producer would say, be kind of like a president in the United States, for example, where they don't have a certain term limit where they could be voted in and then they get kicked right out automatically. This is in place of that. So it's that way it keeps the voters more interested and invested in the long term. And if you don't vote every single week, then your vote power decays over time for as long as a year. It's a half-life of a year, I should say, voting influence. So,
yeah.
Certainly a bunch of interesting stuff. And then the light client. Go ahead there, Bluejays.
There's interesting, as we covered before, the inter-blockchain communication has been mentioned. Also, the roadmap for parallelism, meaning when EOS.io launches, it's going to be single-threaded, but it will. There is a path to parallel and multi-threaded, which is just going to explode the amount of transactions per second. So take a little read into that Medium post, and definitely dig into it.
Yeah, and it even talks about the producer pay. Block producer pay is capped at 1%. That is confirmed. And you also are rewarded based on how many votes you have. The block producers are, that is. So a lot of folks who watch the show are block producers, so that's why I say we. And EOS Go, again, we're not running for block producer, but a lot of folks are. So anyway, the producer pay is capped, and it is the reason. I've heard this question a couple times, and it's been around for a little while, but the reason they are keeping folks earning more EOS for being higher ranked is because they want block producers to always be campaigning and working for the chain, right? So if you got number 6 slot, for example, they don't want you just sitting back and going, well, number 6, I won't get voted out. There's no way, it'll take a long time, right? No, they want you to always be working, trying to work your way up the chain, get more votes. And that way, if you get more votes, you are paid higher or more, I should say. So you can afford your bills more readily. So that is the idea behind that. And yeah, as you said, Bluejays, everybody should go back and read this. There's a lot of it. Most folks are not going to understand every single word of it. I don't either. But a lot of it is very interesting. And of course, this is one of those things where if you are a regular voter, it's nice to know this kind of stuff going forward, because the updates will never stop coming.
Right.
So what other interesting news did you see this week there, Bluejays?
So just to wrap up that last one, there's a lot of confusion. DOM 4.0 has not released yet. It is scheduled to be released this Friday.
The testnet, yep. You referring to the block.one testnet or the actual code itself?
Oh, the actual code itself, yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's off on a Slim branch right now, I think they said, but they're pushing it to master this Friday is what I read.
Okay.
Something like that, yeah. So in terms of news for the week, I mean, it was pretty lean, really. Just the big code push. Of course, we could sit here and talk about price, but we don't do that really on our goal. So let's go to meetups. You want to talk about some meetups there, Bluejays?
Yes. So it looks like there was a meetup today in Montreal. So that's the blockchain, EOS, and Go. I believe this was put on by EOS Canada. I'm not 100% sure.
I think you're right. Yeah, it might even be going on right this moment.
Yeah. Good luck, guys.
Yeah, I'm sure you're having a great time watching this live right on the big screen. Hello. And so they were having a Go language it was EOS and Go, I believe was the name of their meetup, not related to us. Go is a programming language they were looking to implement and encourage more developers to work with EOS. So it was probably a very small meetup. I've heard before that anyone who's tried to put on developer-focused meetups, they end up with a smaller crowd. Understandable.
Yep.
A lot of EOS fans are not necessarily hardcore developers. So hopefully they're learning a lot, though, working together. And maybe there's some developers who didn't know much about EOS and are now hooked. That seems to happen from what I've seen.
Yes.
Also, we mentioned, let's talk about the Seattle meetup. It's about 24 hours from now, or maybe it's 25 hours, and they're put on by blockchain. And actually our very own there, Thomas Cox, not our very own, but the entire blockchain's very own Thomas Cox, the entire world's very own. He will be up there in person, and he's going to be speaking, of course. And also there's going to be a Zoom link live, basically a live show. You can tune in and watch it as it happens, which is pretty cool with the meetup. So Thomas Cox will be up there. That is about 25 hours. It looks like it's Seattle time. It's going to be 6:30 Pacific Central Time, which is 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. So it is about 25 hours from now, which is 8:30 Eastern Standard Time on Monday. So yeah, check that out.
And I believe there was a really big meetup last week from EOS London, which was put on by EOS 42, as well as some other supporters there. They looked like they had a blast over there and a huge turnout. So there's a link. We will post it in the chat if you guys want to see that. Did you hear anything from that, Kevin?
Well, actually, they put out a live stream link, and the quality wasn't great because the audio was hard to hear, but they actually had a professional crew also filming it, and they have been trickling those videos out as they've been edited.
I see.
And so we just saw the Warbly video just came out, and they have the Paolo from Bitfinex also was the keynote, and his video is soon to come out. They're trying to fix something on that before they release it. So if you'd like to go back there, and of course I think there were maybe 10 or more block producer candidates representing there, and they either spoke or they were on video or all sorts of other things. So London, they have a huge EOS scene out there. They always have. Ever since last fall, they've been having huge meetups.
Mm-hmm.
So
seems like so long ago now that they were in London, and they also had that. I believe it was Seoul or Hong Kong back then, way back in January.
Yeah, that might have been Seoul.
Okay.
I think London was. I don't remember where.
London might have been like around
October.
Yeah.
November. Something. Yep. That was back when the price was down in the dumps, but they were going strong. Yeah, they had the biggest meetup for a long time, but. Yeah,
and of course, Kev, we got the Tulip conference coming up soon.
Yes, we always mention the Tulip conference. Of course, we are now going. That's new news for us and for everybody. But also, the Tulip conference is kind of it's like an EOS conference almost in many ways. It is blockchain generic, I should say, but EOS is having a huge presence there. There will be multiple block producer candidates. We're going to have Nathan James with Scatter is also speaking. Thomas Cox will speak, of course. And David Moss will also speak. He's the CEO of TrueBlock, I think formerly with block.one, but he decided to spin off, and I believe, don't know entirely. Hopefully we'll learn a little bit more at the conference about his projects. So it is, if you are in the San Francisco area, it's tulipconf.com. It's tulip, just like the flower, CONF.com. If you'd like to check it out. It looks like it's multi-day meetup event, so it'll be a lot of fun. Not a meetup, I should say. It's a full-blown conference.
Yeah, and I believe that's the 7th to the 9th, June 7th to the 9th.
June 7th to 9th. Yeah, and someone was it Craig earlier? He's talking about how it should be a party at that point, right?
Yeah,
Chain should be up. Everybody's
chain is up. It should be a disco. Not that I know what the disco is, but
let's coin a new term right now. You ready? Chain is up. Champagne is in. Let's party.
Yeah.
That's like Thomas Cox wrote in his article about the Dom Perignon.
Yep.
Popping the champagne.
I couldn't tell the difference between Dom Perignon and a regular champagne. I'm not that into champagne, so.
You're not as high class as Thomas Cox.
Who would have guessed?
Well said, sir. I never would have myself. No. So meetups. That's about all I can see for now. Of course, if you ever have a meetup that you'd like mentioned on the show, please let us know on the forums or on the. We also do the bp.eosgo.io, which is a block producer listing. You can put your meetup on there. All the meetups show up And we, of course, will find it on there and mention it on the show. We should also mention, I think it's in Toronto area, there's a bunch of meetups coming up pretty soon, right? In the next couple weeks?
Yeah, in the next couple of weeks or so. I believe it's
Yeah,
the 17th, May 17th.
Yeah, it's a whole weekend, but Thomas Cox, of course, is there. He's doing 3 in a row, I believe. One at Waterloo and then 2 others in Toronto.
Yeah, they're on the May 17th. They're going to Waterloo, which is the Friday, and then in the afternoon, and then they'll go to the University of Toronto or do something downtown Toronto, and then the next morning, Saturday morning, they will do York University.
Gotcha. Yeah, and those meetups are all on the portal on the bp.eosgo.io. Those are put on by EOS Nation. So if you'd like to reach out to those guys to learn more and to attend one of those meetups, you should.
Yes. It sounds like it'll be fun. Yes.
2 weeks before launch. I mean, it'll be pretty awesome. Yeah. So, what are your thoughts of the week, Blue Jays?
I was just like watching everyone be in awe of the Dawn 4.0 announcement and all the stuff that was in there. I think the team, the block.one team, just continues to blow away people with all the stuff that they're jam packing in there, and just how progress has been being made leading up to the end of this month and the beginning of next month. So I just think they're just delivering like crazy, and then you just know that this is going to be it's just gonna be awesome at the end of this month. So
and on and forever, I think, personally. Of course, you know me, the biggest fan, but yeah, I mean, you nailed it. And Dan came on and he did a huge Q&A on Friday and Saturday and Sunday. I mean, he's been on all weekend on Telegram, just answering questions after the 4.0 release. He clarified a lot about the RAM, 1% fee for the RAM that we just talked about, and about how it will help pay for the block producer candidates and why the change was made and so on and so forth. So he just answered endless questions. And of course, that's what I admire about Dan and about the team, and even about all the block producer candidates, the people working in EOS. It's 24/7, right? For everybody. It's a passion project at this point. It's not just people who are hoping to be a part of something. It's people who are determined to make something.
Yes.
And that to me speaks the most. That's what makes this community so great. You heard it from Craig earlier on EOS Blocksmith. You know, it's just the most incredible experience I think I've ever been a part of. So.
Yep. And for ourselves personally, Kev, I think we've been asked, I think, a couple of times in Thomas's article about the 15% needed. He has like a fictional story there about an account, and then he includes us as doing a live stream. So I mean, I think you and I have thought about that, and we've also gotten some requests from the community. So we will probably be doing our best to put to during the launch time to be on air as much as possible, giving updates.
Yeah, definitely, I agree. We don't have that all finalized yet. And just like a lot of things, like, for example, voting for block producers, the actual portal and what that might look like, not finalized yet, still being built. So a lot of things will change and happen going up to launch. If you'd like to stay updated, of course, we do these bi-weekly what the launch may look like videos. So you can catch up with us there if you'd like to learn more about what you need to do during the launch. If you need to register your tokens, or you need to vote for block producers, or how you do it. All that information we'll give as it comes up. And of course, the live stream info we'll always share on EOS Radio, of course, and whatever comes up as well. So keep up with us, and we'll try to help you guys out as much as we can. Sure. And of course, follow the Twitter, and we have that EOS community updates channel on Telegram. People have asked before. I see that a lot, and they're saying, "Well, how do I keep up with EOS more easily?" Well, we offer this channel where nobody else can speak. It's just broadcasts of the latest news. So if you'd like that information, it's a little easier to keep up with. And anything else people should know there, Blue Jays?
So yeah, you mentioned the Twitter, and I think that's it. Just go to the forums and interact with others. And if you're new to the community, just that's a great resource to get updated. And check out the Getting Started posts. And yeah, that's it. That's it for me.
Me as well, Blue Jays. Thank you, and we'll see you next week. And go EOS.
Go EOS. Have a good week, everybody.